we are in the midst of a huge transformation where our peers, communities, and workplaces are all really melding into one. So, welcome to Reimagining Company Culture. My name is Shannon Moman. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the AllVoices Senior Onboarding Manager. So today, I'm really excited to welcome our next guest to the show, Katrice Gerald. Thanks so much, Katrice, for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
So, no problem, no problem. So let's just jump right into it. So again, Katrice is the head of people at Uptycs. And Katrice, tell us a little bit more about yourself, including your pronouns, and how would you answer this question when you were younger? What did you want to be when you grew up?
My pleasure. My pronouns to start are she, her, hers. I really am all things HR, have always kind of made that discovery at a little late in life or late in my career, I would say. But it helps to understand why I would give you the answer I'm about to give you. When I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher. I was very much into telling people what to do, telling what the rules are and kind of laying down the law, but then also helping create really safe, warm environments for students or employees or whoever to learn and to grow. So I think that turned out very well and very much aligned to where I ended up in life.
I love that. I love that. Sometimes you don't realize it happening, but it all leads up to, what you ultimately want it to be, whether you realize it or not. So I love that. Awesome. And with that said, how did your personal journey lead you into the HR or people space?
Yeah, I started, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do after college. I took the gap year before it was cool to take a gap year. I really did not have any interest in wasting my time, my parents' time, my parents' money, anything like that going to college. So I took a year off. I explored being a teacher. I was a daycare teacher of 3 to 4-year-olds for a year. Quickly decided I want to go to school after that. So I got my associate's degree just to kind of have that under my belt. Discovered I enjoyed learning, but still didn't quite know what I wanted to do. Had some business classes. I spent some time in California, wanted to be in LA, thought I wanted a career in entertainment. Spent a semester there and came home. So it took some time, but I definitely, I got centered and understood I need to just explore, try different things, discover what made me excited. So I have family that was in banking. I kind of followed in that trajectory. I started as a bank teller. I started at Bank of America. Worked my way through kind of different banks. I ended up at what was Sovereign and has become Santander, worked all the way up to branch operations manager. I was a loss prevention specialist. Quickly realized I hated finance. I hated the banking industry and that was not for me. So I had my coming to terms moment with really figuring out what I want to do. And what really excited me about every job I've ever had was that first day, those first couple of days, the orientation, the onboarding, learning about the company and the benefits and what it felt like to be a part of that organization. And it dawned on me, this is all HR. I had no clue what HR had done prior to, really investigating. I thought it was just hiring, firing and things like that. So took a leap of faith, took a step back, honestly, in my career, really got in ground level, entry level HR role at an awesome company called PTC, headquartered in Boston, and learn from, day one, what is HR? What do we do? What do they, what are the possibilities of where a career in HR could go? They were a huge global tech organization. So had the pleasure and really fortunate opportunity to learn in a big company what HR looks like, but they were also tech. So had the opportunity as well to have that door to tech and understanding kind of where opportunities, could go. So it's a very long way of saying that I really had no clue what I wanted to do, but I was what I feel smart and brave enough to take a step back, try something new, and it ended up being the absolute perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said, being smart and brave enough to make a change like that.
Mhm.
And on the subject of change and creating equity, what opportunity and unique role do you think employees have to create more equity in the world?
Yeah, I definitely I didn't discover the power that employees had to make changes in the world and as well in workplaces until my role at PTC and getting into HR, really realizing the voice employees had. I think it starts with one, being authentic and being true to yourself. And fortunately, now we're in a culture and in a place in society where it's a little bit easier to do that. It wasn't
Hmm.
maybe 20, 15 years ago, but the world is changing, corporate, is changing, and being authentic, being free to present yourself and to show up as who you feel you are is being accepted a lot more. So having the courage to do that is really the employee's power, being able to come to work as who you are, confident in what you are and your
Hmm.
strengths and what you bring to not just the actual role and the function, but what do you offer the organization and the company. I actually founded the first Black employee resource group at PTC, which was a huge leap of faith for me. You never talked about those things, or it hadn't been talked about before. Diversity wasn't cool yet, so it was risky to have those conversations and to initiate things that may make waves or ruffle feathers and things like that. But
Hmm.
really, we all have something unique that we offer that we're excited about, and that is lacking somewhere that we can contribute and we can add
Hmm.
to. So really discovering what's important and meaningful to you. How can you present that in your workplace? How can you, bring that or offer that as a benefit or a bonus or an enhancement to the company or the position that you're in? And not being afraid to do that, not being afraid to make changes. And where if you find yourself in the situation that your talent or your gift or whatever it may be, your idea is not welcomed in that space, there's a million other spaces where you're the perfect
Yeah.
person, it's the perfect idea. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how it just keeps coming up, being brave. So, like you said, being brave about doing what's right for you and your career choices, being brave about who you are and bringing that to the workplace.
Mhm.
And with that said, let's talk a little bit more about company culture. With, with all the changes that are happening in the workplace today, um, obviously positive company culture is more sought after now than ever before. Like you said, it was not like this 10,
No.
15, 20 years ago.
No.
Um, so, with company culture being so sought after right now, do you think the easiest way to maybe improve company culture is to identify those workplace issues? Why or why not?
Um, I don't know if that's the easiest way. I definitely think it is one way to enhance culture where there's obvious red flags or there's obvious concerns. Definitely acknowledging those and making changes where necessary. But I do think probably the easiest way to impact or influence culture is it's the people. It's being really smart and strategic about who you hire and why you hire them and where are you sourcing, and what is it beyond their work experience or their skill that they could bring to the job. I think when you explore as an HR person, when you're exploring a candidate's background or just what they've done in previous roles, understanding who they are as a person really is important and makes the difference in understanding what they could bring to the culture. Their resume or their experience is really clear on what they could bring to the job or to that role, but who they are as a person is what determines the culture. And do they fit? Not that, not everybody's welcome, but some people don't mesh very well in certain cultures or certain environments. And it's really taking the time to get to know employees, get to know candidates before they become employees, and discovering, do they match, do they fit, and can they grow? And I think that's, to me, the biggest impact to culture is, does our employees or do our candidates have the opportunity to grow here? Can they flourish in a range of roles and a range of positions or projects that they are able to initiate if they so choose? But do we give them the space to grow? Because if we do, that allows our culture to grow, that allows us to grow as an organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love that. And how are you thinking about, building a pipeline with more people of color in the funnel at Uptycs currently?
Well, I be totally honest, I had never heard of Uptycs until I saw this job opening. I am all about bringing awareness to any place where I am excited or I feel comfortable or I feel welcomed, and I know that it would be a benefit to others like me in my community, whatever the case may be. I am really now, I am a month in, but I'm very passionate about cybersecurity and people of color in cybersecurity. I actually just discovered a LinkedIn article that came out that was in the midst of all the layoffs and in economic, uncertainty. Hackers don't stop. So cybersecurity is flourishing. We're constantly hiring. We're hiring like crazy at Uptick. So a little plug there, but definitely I'm exploring those opportunities for more people of color in cybersecurity. It's been brought to my attention that a lot of our veterans and those who have been in military service, cybersecurity is huge and it's part of their training. So there's plenty of opportunity there. So I'm very passionate beyond just people of color, but how accessible are we making our jobs? How are we reaching out to those who have had maybe not specific, industry experience or actual on the job training experience,
Hmm.
but they can bring something to cybersecurity as an industry and to Upticks that gives us the advantage. I'm definitely, cybersecurity has never crossed my radar. I'm not technical in the slightest, but having the opportunity to be a part of this organization opened an entirely new window to me of opportunity. So I'm very excited to do more work and getting involved in different organizations where I can bring awareness to cybersecurity as an industry to underrepresented groups.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. If you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of people, were in a similar place as you were, where you weren't very familiar with cybersecurity, and perhaps it
Mhm.
was never really, presented to you in
Right.
your life at any point. So yeah, I think it is very, very important to, bring these opportunities in front of people who might have not even thought about it before, right?
Right.
Like people of color or even people with disabilities, like you mentioned, or veterans or whatever the case may be. They might not be, familiar with this particular lane. So it's
Mhm.
just, getting things in front of people. So yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely love that. Love that concept. And what is the connection between employee well-being, productivity, and retention?
Yeah. To me, it's huge. And I've always been a huge proponent of well-being. Again, long before it was a trend, I used to think I was crazy because I loved the thought of the unlimited, PTO or wellness days. And
Hmm.
I think before COVID hit and everybody had that mental breakdown,
Yeah.
realizing we need a break. To me, it's primary. It's ensuring that your team, that people feel like they have the opportunity to reset, to sit down, take a minute, take a beat. People have families, they have, pets, whatever, your true focus is, wherever you find that source of calm and joy, you have to have the opportunity to actually enjoy it and to focus on it, not just, they be noise in the background. So I'm a huge proponent of that. At Upticks, we have unlimited PTO. We are, robust in our company holidays. We are getting more aggressive with, the things that we're actually acknowledging. We've added Juneteenth to our calendar this year, which I'm very proud of. So definitely making the time to not just provide the space, but acknowledging that these days are important. This time is important. Um, but I think any organization can benefit from that. When you give your employees the opportunity and the space to take a break, they come back refreshed, they come back feeling invigorated and inspired and motivated to do better work. So to me, there's this seamless thread to, wellness and well-being and efficiency.
Yeah, of course, of course. And when people um, have a sense of well-being and feel like they've had a break and they are, happy, they're grateful that they have those benefits and they have that space at their company to take a break, and
Mhm.
it's welcomed,
Yeah,
that as a byproduct, retention just, becomes a part of that. So um, yeah, I absolutely agree. I just feel like they're all linked. And, once you give people that well being that they're looking for, they become more productive and they stay.
exactly.
Um, so, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So, Have you seen companies or leaders really, support the employees' emotional, physical, and mental well-beings of their team?
I have. There's definitely, there's always more work to do, but I think with the rise of tools like Calm or Headspace and more organizations, more companies taking on these as perks or benefits and just adding them to their benefit portfolio, it becomes seamless, like I said. And for me as the head of HR, a lot of my focus and my goal, especially for this year, is incorporating that time for managers as well, making sure managers have that space to take a break and acknowledging that they too, they have the pressure, they have the team that they have to worry about and care for, but they need it too. So it's definitely a new lane for me. I've been a business partner and had to have those kind of one-on-ones with managers, but I think I feel a little mama bear sense of ownership in this role and definitely wanting to highlight and focus on our people leaders, because it starts with them, giving them the space to know that you can take a break too. And then you're setting the example for your team. When they see you take a break, your hands off, you're not answering Slacks, you're done, you're shut down. Again, it creates a safe space for your team to do that as well. So definitely my focus is on the managers and people leaders of my team and helping them first acknowledge that they need to do it for themselves, but then spreading, it down to their direct reports. Everyone needs to take a break. Everyone needs to step back and just make sure that they're doing the best for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Like leading by example, right?
Yep.
Showing the team that I'm taking a break. It's okay for you to take a break. So yeah, I think it's really, really important, for in all aspects that managers lead by example, including their emotional, physical, mental well-being. So yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Perfect. So how do you coach managers to empower their teams to do their best work and have effective one-on-ones?
So for me, I have never been a fan of micromanaging, so I will never be a proponent of that. I think I'm fortunate enough in this role to come into where we've had recent new additions to our executive and senior leadership. We have our CMO is under 6 months, our CFO is under 6 months, our SVP of sales is relatively new. So a lot of new leaders coming in with a lot of great experience and a lot of great understanding of really just kind of what it takes to, manage the team, make a difference, have that one-on-one communication, but allow your team to do the work that they are capable of doing. For me, we're also in the process of setting up a lot of new tools. So I'm vigorously looking for a performance management platform so I can automate some of those things. Once they're automated and in just kind of a regular cadence, it becomes seamless, which hopefully we can get that on the agenda soon. But for me, it's communication always. Once you had those, easy conversations, easy check-ins with your team, as long as you know what's going on, there's really no need ever for micromanaging. If we come into a micromanaging situation, then something's off, and that
Hmm.
pause for let's take a break, let's step back and kind of evaluate what's happening. But open communication is definitely something that at Uptycs I see happening a lot, and I haven't had to really enforce anything because it's happening seamlessly. And I think that's, again, with the addition of great leaders, great executives who
Hmm.
are really modeling what they have done previously, but what they know to be effective. So we're doing pretty good in that area so far.
Great. Love that. Love to hear that. And with that said, do you think it's a requirement for organizations to hold space and provide resources for hard, vulnerable, and those uncomfortable conversations? I know you all aren't having a whole lot of them, but what do you think? Do you think it's required of them to kind of add space and resources for those uncomfortable conversations, and why?
I do. And again, I think it goes back to allowing employees to really be themselves and bring truly the fullness of themselves to the role and to the organization. Creating safe space to have hard conversations builds trust and it builds understanding. And to me, once you have those two things in place, the hard conversations will always occur, especially in business, but building upon that with the trust and
Yeah.
effective, go, here's what expected, here's how we move forward. it's bound to happen. And I think that's kind of the cornerstone of any relationship or any good relationship. You're going to have those hard conversations. You're going to, you're not always going to agree, but it's the ability to conversate, have those conversations, to be honest and really speak your piece. And I think, again, those are the building blocks of trust. And if I'm working with people that I trust, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work better. I'm going to want to give so much more of myself. And at the end of the day, I think that's what any organization or any CEO, any leadership, that's all that they can ask for, is that, their employees really show up and give their best to the role. And that in and of itself creates a truly dynamic culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that said, is there a company leader who is modeling the behavior that we've been talking about? The behavior of elevating people of culture, people of colors, voices in tech? And if so, what is their approach? You don't have to, of course, name anybody, but if there's someone that you can think of that is, modeling the behavior of elevating POCs in tech, what would you say that their approach is?
At Uptycs, or just in general?
I guess in general.
There's so many. There are. I won't name names, as like you said, but there are several, and I am constantly inspired, especially on LinkedIn, to really see the conversations. Again, it's all, how you curate your network and those that you're following, the type of, what your feed will look like. But
of course,
I'm every day kind of plugged in and very inspired by what I see happening, especially in tech, with those who are stepping up. I will say specifically, I didn't get to attend. I'm hoping to go this year, but Afrotech was a huge, I just kind of sat back in awe. It was like regretting that I didn't go.
I know it's definitely a dream. It'll be a dream goal for me too. I've seen a lot about it. It looks amazing.
I have to go.
Amazing.
I don't know if it's happening this year, but I have to go. But even that conference and that space, where obviously it wasn't just people of color, but having that, such an engaging environment to really highlight tech and people of color in tech, to be in that space, to see that there's so many of us out here doing this work. We're so, we're not siloed as we may feel we are. We may be very small in numbers in a particular organization, but I think the emergence of Afrotech and just the impact I saw it have, at least last year alone, that was huge. And gave me so much inspiration and hope and faith that we're going in the right direction. It's obviously is hard work and it's going to take time, but there's a traction that's happening right now, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think it ties into what you were saying earlier about, you didn't know about being in cybersecurity based on your previous experience. It just wasn't presented to you. And I think that that has been the case so long for people of color in tech, and things like Afrotech really does bring us together, and also just gets the word out there about people in color in tech. Honestly, I talk to a lot of people who I tell them what I do and they've never heard of it. They don't even really understand what exactly it is that I'm saying, because it's not, it's basically new terrain, I guess, in many cases for people of color. So like you said, things like Afrotech is showing us that we're not as siloed as we think we are, and we're moving in the right direction. And also it's just getting awareness, it's getting, the word out there to people. So
and
love that.
I think too, I am excited to kind of get as much conversation around it. We see all the layoffs, we see what's going on in just the economy in general, but that tech is stable, that tech is safe. I constantly have this conversation with those in my personal life that, tech is too risky, but I hate that we have that, that thought or that hesitation. But then you can also think, no risk, no reward. It's up to you which path you want to take. But to me, tech is truly such a great equalizer for people of color, and tremendous opportunity is out there. that doesn't require, tremendous, skill or degrees or backgrounds and things like that. So there's, again, it's awareness, and I'm really excited for opportunities like Afrotech and beyond to really be able to spread awareness. And I think AllVoices is doing the same thing. It's presenting those opportunities and spreading the word and creating podcasts or whatever, the medium may be, really getting the awareness out there. And I feel like that's happening so much more frequently, which is very exciting.
Yeah, of course. And not to shamelessly plug, obviously, because I'm from AllVoices, but I can say that as a person of color, that is honestly a large part of why I'm here. If I can be completely
Right.
honest with you, is just working for a product that does create a safe
Right.
space for people of color to be able to speak out on things that just aren't quite right.
Exactly.
I think we've all been in that position before, whether you're a person of color or not, where you maybe wanted to talk about something, but you just weren't really comfortable doing so. Like, how do I talk about it? Where do I start? How
Yep.
am I protected? So, not just for our podcast, but simply just for having that safe space, creating a safe space for other companies to be able to protect those people who feel unprotected generally. So,
Definitely.
yeah, awesome. Love that. I am a super fan of Afrotech. It's my dream one day to go. So
We'll get there.
this year we're gonna manifest it.
Yes.
Um, awesome. So my final question, is there anything else that you would like to share that I maybe didn't ask, or one or two key insights that you hope listeners will bring with them after listening to this podcast today?
No, I think we covered everything that was, in my mind. Again, I'm always just about bringing awareness as much as possible to tech, to startups, to now that I'm in it, cybersecurity specifically. Definitely, like I said, there seems to be tremendous opportunity here, and I'm very excited
Mhm.
to personally research and learn and understand where that opportunity really lies, and then bring that information to as many underrepresented communities as I possibly can. But no, I love it. I've made the transition, and I stayed. You know my story now. So
Mhm.
I hope, if nothing else, I'm a wonderful example of, again, taking risks, especially in your career, not settling, not feeling like you have to be beholden to any, one industry. The other thing that I love to tell people too, if people think tech and they're like, I don't have a tech background, I don't know how to code, I'm like, I have no idea what anyone's talking to me about if they're
Yeah.
talking about coding, or I know nothing, I'm not technical. So it doesn't even require that. And I really just
Yeah.
taking the chance, taking the opportunity. There's sales, there's marketing, there's HR, there's so many different areas of
Of course.
opportunity in the industry. And again, I sing from the rooftops just as much as I can to get people to understand that there's so much opportunity here, and
Mhm.
it's really just about taking the risk. And it doesn't even have to be risky. It's taking the leap and being brave and just going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Katrice, for being on Reimagining Company Culture today.
Thank you.
And as a reminder for all the folks who are listening, at All Voices, we really do believe that employee feedback is a requirement for the company to succeed overall. But have a great rest of your day, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you again, Katrice.
Thank you.